Have you ever noticed something strange about your own life? You can imagine a better future so clearly. You can see the business. You can see the body. You can see the money. You can see the relationship. You can see yourself waking up with purpose, moving with confidence, finally becoming the person you always said you would become. But then the next day comes and nothing changes. You wake up, grab your phone, scroll for a few minutes, tell yourself you will start later, then later becomes night, night becomes guilt, guilt becomes another promise. Tomorrow I'll start, tomorrow I'll be disciplined, tomorrow I'll finally get serious. But deep down, you have heard that promise before, and that is what hurts the most. It is not that you do not have dreams. You have big dreams. The problem is, somewhere between the dream and the action, something inside you freezes. You know what you want, but you do not move toward it. You know what needs to be done, but you avoid it. You know the version of you that is possible, but you keep living like the old version is still in control. And tonight, we are going to talk about why. Not to shame you, not to make you feel lazy, not to tell you to just work harder. Because most people who dream big but do nothing are not weak. They are not stupid. They are not hopeless. They are usually carrying fear, pressure, confusion, emotional exhaustion, and a hidden belief that says, what if I try and still fail? So instead of facing that pain, the mind chooses a strange comfort. It lets you dream because dreaming feels safe. Dreaming gives you the feeling of progress without the risk of rejection. Dreaming lets you visit the future without having to pay the price of building it. But action is different. Action exposes you. Action asks for proof. Action takes the beautiful picture in your mind and places it in the real world, where people can judge it, where mistakes can happen, where your confidence can be tested. And that is why many people become addicted to planning, imagining, researching, and talking about the dream, but never actually starting. Let me tell you a story. There was a man named Daniel who always believed he was meant for more. Since he was young, he would look at successful people and think, that could be me. He had ideas all the time. A clothing brand, a YouTube channel, a fitness journey, a book, a business, a new life. Every few months, he would feel a fire inside him. He would buy a notebook, write down goals, watch motivational videos, and tell himself, this time is different. For 3 days, he felt unstoppable. Then came day 4. The excitement faded. The work felt heavy. The goal started looking too far away. He would compare himself to people who were already ahead, and suddenly his dream felt embarrassing. He would think, who am I to do this? Then he would stop, not officially. He never said, I quit. He just paused. And that pause became weeks, then months, then another year. Every birthday reminded him of the same thing. Another year older. Still dreaming, still waiting, still almost starting. One night, Daniel sat in his car after work. He did not even go inside the house right away. He just sat there in silence, staring at nothing. He was tired, not just physically tired, soul tired. He whispered to himself, why do I keep doing this? Why do I want so much but do so little? And for the first time, he did not attack himself. He listened, and the answer that came up was not, because I am lazy. The answer was, because I am scared. Scared to start small, scared to look foolish, scared to disappoint himself again, scared that if he gave his best and it still did not work, he would have no fantasy left to hide inside. That night, Daniel realized something powerful. His dream was not the problem. His relationship with action was the problem. He had made action too big. In his mind, starting meant changing everything overnight. It meant waking up at 5 in the morning, working out, building a business, eating perfectly, saving money, creating content, reading books, and becoming a new person immediately. So every time he tried to start, his nervous system saw the dream like a mountain. Too high, too heavy, too much. And when the brain sees too much at once, it does not rise. It retreats. That is why big dreams can sometimes paralyze you. Not because the dream is wrong, but because you are trying to carry the entire future in one day. Listen to this carefully. You do not need to build the whole dream today. You only need to build trust with yourself today. That is the first fix. Stop asking, how do I change my whole life? Start asking, what is the smallest promise I can keep today? Because confidence does not come from thinking about success. Confidence comes from evidence. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, even a small one, your mind starts believing you again. And maybe that is what you have lost. Not talent, not potential, not intelligence, self-trust. You have broken so many promises to yourself that part of you no longer believes your own voice when you say, I'm going to start. So do not begin with a giant promise. Begin with one small action that is so simple you cannot negotiate with it. 5 minutes of writing, 10 push-ups, 1 phone call, 1 page, 1 saved dollar, 1 healthy meal, 1 hour without scrolling, 1 small step. Not because that one step will change everything instantly, but because that one step sends a message to your mind. I am not just a dreamer, I move. The second fix is this. Stop waiting to feel ready. Readiness is one of the biggest traps in life. People say, I'll start when I feel motivated. But motivation is not the foundation. Motivation is the weather. Some days it is sunny. Some days it disappears. If you build your life on motivation, your life will always be unstable. You need rhythm. You need structure. You need a simple system that works even when your feelings are not cooperating. Daniel learned this the hard way. He used to wait for the perfect mood, the perfect time, the perfect energy, the perfect setup, but perfection became a hiding place. He finally told himself, I do not need to feel ready. I need to be willing. That sentence changed him because readiness is about emotion. Willingness is about choice. You can be tired and still be willing. You can be scared and still be willing. You can be unsure and still be willing. You can have doubts and still take the next step. The people who change their lives are not always the people who feel fearless. They are the people who learn to act while fear is still in the room. The third fix is to shrink the dream into a daily identity. Do not just say, I want to write a book. Say, I am the kind of person who writes every day. Do not just say, I want to get fit. Say, I am the kind of person who takes care of my body. Do not just say, I want to build a business. Say, I am the kind of person who learns, creates, and sells something valuable. A dream is something you visit in your imagination. An identity is something you practice with your behavior. And this is where many people stay stuck. They want the result, but they have not accepted the identity. They want success, but they still live like someone who avoids discomfort. They want freedom, but they still spend every night feeding distractions. They want change, but they keep negotiating with old habits. You cannot become a new person while protecting every routine that keeps the old person alive. Something has to be interrupted. Maybe it is the late night scrolling. Maybe it is the habit of starting and stopping. Maybe it is the people you keep trying to impress. Maybe it is the story you keep telling yourself that you are too late, too old, too behind, too damaged, or too ordinary. No, you are not too late. You are just at the point where excuses are becoming more painful than effort. And that is a powerful place to be. The fourth fix is to stop making your dream a performance for other people. Sometimes we do nothing because we are too busy imagining how people will react. What if they laugh? What if nobody supports me? What if my family does not understand? What if my first video gets 10 views? What if my business fails? What if my art is not good enough? But here is the truth. At the beginning, your dream does not need applause. It needs protection. Do not expose the seed before it has roots. There are dreams that die because we announce them too early and feed them with opinions instead of discipline. Move quietly for a while. Build quietly. Practice quietly. Learn quietly. Let your results speak later. You do not need everyone to believe in the first version of you. You need you to stop abandoning the first version of you. The beginning will be messy. Let it be messy. The first attempt will be imperfect. Let it be imperfect. The first chapter, the first workout, the first video, the first product, the first step will not look like the dream in your head. That does not mean it is wrong. That means it is real. Real things begin rough. A baby does not walk perfectly the first time. A musician does not master the instrument in one day. A creator does not find their voice in the first post. A business owner does not understand everything before starting. Growth is not clean. Growth is awkward. Growth is uncomfortable. Growth feels like becoming someone while still hearing the voice of who you used to be. The fifth fix is to build a bridge between emotion and action. Most people try to fight their emotions. They say, I should not feel afraid. I should not feel tired. I should not feel insecure. But fighting the emotion often makes it louder. Instead, name it. Say, I feel fear and I can still take one step. Say, I feel overwhelmed, so I will make the task smaller. Say, I feel behind, but comparison will not build my future. Say, I feel resistance, and resistance usually means I am near something important. When you name the feeling, you stop being controlled by it. You create space, and in that space, you can choose. Not a giant choice, a next choice. That is all life is, a series of next choices. Daniel did not transform in one dramatic moment. He transformed through small moments that nobody saw. He wrote for 10 minutes when he wanted to scroll. He walked for 15 minutes when he wanted to stay on the couch. He made one call when he wanted to avoid rejection. He posted one imperfect video when he wanted to wait until everything was perfect. At first, nothing happened. No applause, no big money, no overnight miracle. But something inside him started changing. He began to trust himself again. And when you trust yourself, your energy changes. You stop begging for motivation. You stop needing the world to approve you. You stop seeing discipline as punishment. Discipline becomes self-respect. It becomes proof that your future matters. It becomes the way you tell yourself, I am worth the effort. And maybe that is the message you needed tonight. You are worth the effort. Your dream is not silly. Your desire for more is not wrong. That restless feeling inside you may not be a curse. It may be a signal that you have outgrown the version of life you keep repeating, but you cannot think your way into a new life forever. At some point, the dream needs a body. It needs your hands, your feet, your calendar, your attention, your sacrifice, your patience, your courage. Do not wait for a perfect life to begin. Begin inside your imperfect life. Begin with the room messy. Begin with the fear present. Begin with low energy. Begin before you have all the answers. Begin before you feel confident, because confidence often comes after action, not before it. And remember this, you do not rise to the level of your dream. You fall to the level of your daily habits. So make the habits small enough to repeat. Make the promise simple enough to keep. Make the first step so clear that your mind has no room to escape. Tonight, before you sleep, choose one action, not 10. One, write it down. Tomorrow, do it before you explain yourself out of it. Do it before the phone takes your attention. Do it before the old story wakes up. 5 minutes, one page, one walk, one call, one draft, one decision, one act of self-respect. And when you finish, do not say, that was too small. Say, I kept my promise, because that is how you rebuild yourself. Not through pressure, through proof, not through fantasy, through movement, not through shame, through commitment. One day you may look back and realize the life you wanted did not begin with a huge breakthrough. It began with a small moment when you were tired of disappointing yourself. A quiet moment when you finally said, I do not have to fix my whole life today. I just have to stop betraying the next step. That is where your reset begins. Not when everything is perfect, not when fear disappears, not when people clap. It begins when you take action while the old version of you is still trying to talk you out of it. So tonight, let this be your reminder. Dream big, but start small. Start so small that you cannot fail. Then repeat it until your identity catches up with your vision. Because the dream is not waiting for a perfect you. It is waiting for the honest you, the willing you, the you who finally understands that action is not about proving you are fearless. It is about proving you are still here, still trying, still becoming, still choosing not to give up on yourself, and that is enough to begin. If this message reached you at the right time, take it as your sign to reset tonight. Before you leave, write one small action you will take tomorrow in the comments. Not the whole dream, just the next step. And if you want more calm, honest reminders like this, subscribe to 10 Minutes to Reset. Come back whenever your mind feels heavy, whenever you feel stuck, or whenever you need help returning to yourself. Your reset does not have to be loud. It just has to be real.